Okay, we have another one. This is going to be a breakdown for two white belts. This is Julie here and Terry over here. And I believe they've been, I'm not quite sure how long they've been training, so I don't want to mess that up. So I won't, but I know they're still white belts, still kind of in the beginner phase. But I'm always really excited to watch you know, white belts kind of spar because there's a lot to learn from it. And so I'll shut up and I'll get started here. So a little bit of a square off, a little smack talking. It's nice. That's good. This is good. All right, so they're going to start standing. So let's see. Reaching, a little smacky smack. Okay, okay, rest my legs. Okay, bump. Okay. So right off the bat, I really like that they started standing. So this is good. So keep doing that. So that's a good thing. Second thing is I do like that they actually are trying to circle and not just backing away from each other. They are circling and they are doing a lot of hand fighting. And there's a little bit of feints, kind of changing level to feint, and there's reaching for the legs. So all that's pretty good so far, and that's to be expected for even more beginners that have been there, a few months. So what I would say is not so good is that there is a lot of reaching. So you got to be very careful when you're wrestling here, because the more you start to kind of, both of them are kind of like just kind of reaching for each other and trying to frantically it almost seems frantic, but they're just kind of reaching, trying to grab something, right? Trying to make a connection. And that's true. And that's the point. They should be actually reaching to actually get a connection. The problem is that they're really leaning forward, trying to reach and grab things. There's nothing wrong with changing your level here, kind of testing distance and kind of pushing and all this, and trying to make connection with a collar tie or trying to get like she has a grip on a hand here. But when you're grabbing hands like this, you only have it for a fraction of a second. So you need to start thinking about arm drags, Russian ties, and things like this. And what that requires is a really form of connection. So I'd really like to see them start to get more connected before and do minimum of this kind of like reaching for things. Reaching is just generally a bad idea just because it kind of opens you up as well. But if you are going to reach, there's nothing wrong necessarily with reaching. Just keep your hand back here to cover your front leg, right? This is a kind of a general basic 101 rule is if you are going to be reaching for things and trying to connect, your front leg should always be protected by your arm. So in this particular case, both of their front legs here, they got a right leg here and you got a left leg here. Their left leg and her left arm and her right arm should be down here kind of protecting this leg. Just so that if, Terry decided to take a shot here, or Julie decided to take a shot, that there is something to kind of stuff the shot, right? So, all right, I'm done with that. So let's go on. And this is why there's so much franticness with the hands, is because they don't have connection. Like they tries to grab a hand. So really what I would like to see is like, reaching for a collar tie, getting closer to her by circling, and trying to get some sort of connection, an overhook, an underhook. These feints are good, kind of reaching from touching the leg like she did that. Julie did that a couple times, but kind of follow up with that, right? And again, I think this is very natural too. This is not necessarily wrong, but this is very natural to do because it's a risk. If you go in and try to take a shot, it's a risk. Like you don't want to get stuffed and get face planted on the ground. So, okay, I like that they're pushing forward. Okay, now they're getting more connection. This is good. Okay, there was a snap. I like that. Terry did a little snap down. Okay, there's a shot to go into the leg. Beautiful. So, not bad. So she goes in for a single. And you can see right off the bat, Julie's kind of reaching over, trying to hug around the body. Usually beginners will try to go around the neck and grab for a guillotine. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what I would really like to see is, Julie's left arm and this arm here kind of framing out on the head, trying to get some space and some distance, and her turning in this direction to try to free her leg. That being said, Terry did a really good shot. She kind of went straight in. The only problem with the going in and what she did is that, in the way that she did, is that her head is looking at she's looking down at the floor. All right. This is generally a bad idea. Just don't look at the floor. You should always have posture, right? and she's kind of hunched over here a little bit. When she took that shot, I would like to see her change her level just a little bit more with her head up, right? And then get that single. And her head should always, if you're going to be looking at the floor necessarily, your head should be on the chest, right? Not even your head, I would just say your face. It's kind of like your side of your face is generally on the chest. So, and again, as you get better with this is not such a terrible position. This is a general rule. As you get better, things like this are not such a terrible thing. Like if a black belt does this, there's probably a reason. There's going to be a chain of events that are going to happen. So in other words, if I saw this position and I went in here and somehow I got here, I'd probably immediately shoot my hips in, drop to my knees here, turn to the corner and grab this leg and try to do a double to the other direction. So, but I would change level to do that. I would drop down to do that. But this is good. I like that she took the shot and she turned, rotated in a circle. This is great. Got the takedown. And right there, you see, Julie went to grab the neck. Nothing wrong with that. It's a very natural thing to do. When Julie starts to get better at this, it will be, I can see the back of Terri's neck here. That's why I'm saying that. Maybe she does tap her, but, if I can see the back of her neck, she's probably not gonna tap Terri here. There's a guillotine. Plus, she's in a bit of a half guard here. You can do it from half guard for sure, but, let's see here. So she does have a good bite. So now she's starting to hide the neck a little bit. So this is good. But the head pops out. Okay. So the head pops out. That was a good attempt for the guillotine. And I do like that Julie's reaction here is to immediately hug the head and break the posture. This is actually a good idea. This should be kind of a default thing you do, and just in general, is to bring them down to break the posture. The only problem with this is that, she's not in a full guard here. She's I don't see any leg over here. Okay. Which means her right leg it appears to be stuck underneath. I don't think her knee's on the chest. I believe Terri's is on top of her leg here. Pulling her down is good, but she needs to start to establish a half guard position. And let's see if she does that. Okay. So yeah. So see her leg's back here, and her leg is kind of sticking up here, and she's flat on the mat. So this is a big thing we just generally just tell people do not do, is don't be on your back here. You should be on your side at a minimum, right? You need to be on your side. So so Julie should be facing the camera here, and this this leg needs to be, her left leg needs to start to get a bit, maybe even a knee shield in between the two of them, maybe a lockdown. I mean, these are all more, I would say, for beginners. This is a little more advanced, but at a minimum, should be on her side, right? Now this overhook on the head is not that great, because now if she pulls down on Terri's head here, she's just kind of making it worse for herself. Like, Terri doesn't mind this position. And she doesn't mind the position because Julie's flat. So she can just keep putting pressure in. So let's see. There, right there. Okay, so you see the pressure came down. As soon as the pressure came down, you see Julie let go of let go of grabbing around the head to bring her in, because now there's pressure. So the pressure of the chest pressure, she's on top of her face a little bit here, so it's very uncomfortable. She's very flat here, but she did bring her arm to the inside. Now she's trying to create a wedge to try to get space, right? But now it's going to be very difficult, right? Now you're going to have to recover, and now you're going to spend a lot of energy, and you're going to have to suffer through it a little bit. Now, that was good. Terri steps over the mount. And the reason why she was able to step over the mount so easy is because she has chest to chest connection. Excuse me, and her head is so close, right? She's like ear to ear with Julie here. And once you have that chest to chest connection, your legs, it doesn't matter where they're entangled at. You will generally be, if you tripod and you do maneuver, keep that chest pressure down, you can move your legs out to get to mount. So that was good. Now, this is called direct grip addressment. So what she's doing is Terri's trying to push the arm over Julie's head. She may be going for like a head and arm here, which is beautiful. I think that's a great idea. And she should put some pressure in here, in my opinion, because she's established the position, she's established mount, she's established pressure, she has control of the position, and now, there's not a big risk in her pushing this arm. The only thing that's wrong with this position, which I wouldn't say wrong, but the only thing that she can improve here is these direct grips. What this does is it essentially, once you start pushing on this arm, then everything is revealed. So basically, she knows that you want that arm across. She knows that if she's wise to it, she's going to know you want some sort of head and arm to go for the submission. So what is she going to do? She's going to fight really, really hard for you not to push that arm. And then this ends up being like kind of a war of attrition or a strength kind of battle. There's nothing wrong with that. And because she has control of the position and she has mount, I would say there's nothing wrong with doing that. But just to add layers to things, she could address this indirectly, kind of by bringing her chest over to the side, kind of smearing across, and then adding the arm there as well. Just doing things kind of indirectly. So indirect grips. But again, nothing wrong with this. I would probably do the same thing. But just kind of throw that out there. It's kind of interesting. So there's a chest. So she's got a chest kind of on top there. Julie got some good frames here at the bottom. So now Julie needs to be very careful here, because her arm's getting a little crossed here. If her arm gets too crossed, Terry's going to be able to get her chest on top of that tricep, and then it's going to be a rough ride. Okay, good. Okay, I really like that Julie's hands are down here now. So I like that her hands are near, near the hips. She's having to deal with this crossface here. If Terri wants to be mean with this, she can actually crossface her pretty hard here. But getting her hands to the hips is very important. It's the hips that need to be addressed. And I really want to see Julie to use her legs here to kind of bridge to get on her side. Terry's doing a really good job of keeping chest connection. Her hips are in. Her mount is very stable. So this is good. Okay, so Julie's going for the double unders, so the panda escape, basically. So I love this escape. It's probably one of the main escapes I use. This is basically just trying to steal the inside position back. We do this a lot at Val. Highly encourage everybody to continue to do it. And it's just a way of escaping, utilizing the idea of inside position. So she can put her arms in here, then she can effectively begin to use her hips to actually start to escape. The problem we're going to see here, and we'll see if it works, is that it's only her hands are very shallow, so her wrists are kind of trapped, right? She really, really needs to start to get Terri high. So Julie needs to get Terri higher, and she can do this by kind of using her knees to kind of kick her in the butt here and push her. She could use big bridges, like explosive bridges, using her arms at the same time to kind of bring her high. So essentially what Julie needs to do is get Terri's hips on her chest. And once her hips are on her chest, then she can go to this, the waiter, and she can start to dump Terri off here. So you see both her hands are here. This is beautiful. Now she's on her side. This is good. Again, the only problem with her getting on her side with her two arms in there, into the inside position, is that she can't throw her off. Like, there's no way she's going to use her arms here just to kind of throw Terri off of her. She has to get her feet underneath her and get a good bridge, like an explosive bridge, to throw Terri over her. And this may take several times. It's not like you just do one big bridge, boom, you're out. This may take 5, 6, 7 bridges, really hard bridges, to get the person high enough to where your arms can get deep enough. This arm's looking better, but then she pulled this arm in. So now she's in triangle territory. You have to be very careful because Terri could start throwing this leg over here and start throwing a triangle. So she needs to pick in or out. So she can't have one in and one out. This is generally a bad idea just in general. In your guard and things like this. You want to have 2 arms in or 2 arms out in general. So we'll see what she does here. I do like that she's on her side. Okay, so both arms are back in. Here we go. Okay, Terri, good job on pinning that arm in. She got her arm back out. So turning to the side, Julie tried to turn to the side here, exposing her back, and Julie was able to take the back from back exposure. But I really like what's happening here. So Julie's very calm here, and she's trying to keep flat to the mat, right? So now we're out of spinal alignment. I just call it spinal alignment. Terri wants spinal alignment. Obviously, Julie does not want spinal alignment. So she's trying to keep her back flat to the mat. She's got a good bridge here. We're just kind of angling her off here to get weight on her shoulders to get her onto the mat. She needs to continue to keep sliding away from Terri here, and Terri obviously needs to start to play a bit of recovery. if she can get her back to the mat. See, the whole thing with this position, I always tell people, one, it starts with the hips, switching the hips, which Julie has done. But two, it's this shoulder right here. Excuse me. It's not so much all this hand fighting. What it is taking this shoulder and just dropping it to the floor as hard as she can, right? And once that shoulder drops to the floor, you're out. There's ways Terri can recover from here, recover the back by like dragging Julie's face across her body and all this stuff. But effectively, what Julie needs to do now is get that shoulder and just strike it to the floor. See, right? Not worried about the hand so much. Just strike that left shoulder to the floor. She's thinking about going back to Panda. Okay, so right here, you see how... So this is no good. So now that shoulder is not even close to the floor. So she's turned, and now she's kind of given alignment to Terri here. And then also Terri's doing a good job here. She's fishing for the underhook on the arm here. Now this is going to just kind of reset the back position. She's still sliding, though. This is good. She's turning the hips. Okay, slide flat. She needs to continue to slide flat. So she needs to pick one. There is ways she can do this kind of running man stuff and turn into Terri here and try to do like a cover girl stuff, attempt to kind of face your partner, kind of end up in their guard type of thing, or roll through. I would say this is a little more advanced thing to do. Or she needs to continue to go flat and stay flat. But every time she turns and goes and switches her hips over this way, you can see they're in complete alignment here. So just continue to stay flat and get this left shoulder to the ground. Okay, this is good. And by the way, it's going to be hard for her to get this left shoulder to the ground now because of this underhook. Before it would have been much easier, but now it's going to be a little more difficult because this arm. So she's going to have to do a little bit of hand fighting here, see if she can get that arm down. Okay, so that was beautiful. I totally missed it, but let me look here. All right. Right there. So that was nice. So she just kind of switches and just kind of sits up. So it's interesting. All right, so she kind of just turns in to the opposite direction. And so, see, this is why I like watching this stuff. This is really interesting. She just turns the opposite direction and turns her hips and gets on top. And this was just because Terri wasn't able to kind of control the position and really capitalize on using those grips. So it was good. Okay, so it's closed guard. Okay, good. See how Terri's going for the arm, reaching for the neck here, trying to break the posture down. This is really good. And Julie here is kind of keeping her arms to the inside. This is also very good. She doesn't want her arms flailing all over the place. So this is good. Reaching back, posturing up, and then Terri trying to drag her back down. So she's reaching back here to get this to push that leg off. She's got this is a good ramp here. I think that's good enough. She's got to be very careful when you do this. I'm not a huge fan of doing this. The reason why is because your head is not all the way up. You're kind of leaning forward here. You're on one foot, maybe be on both feet, right? When you start to do this, to try to break this guard down. But not a bad thing. I think this is a good thing, to reach back and do this. You got to be very careful just with triangles and arm bars and all these things. Sweep to the butt. She gets back up. Okay, now she's up on both feet, getting into a tripod position. Now she goes back to her knees. One thing I really like that Terri's doing here is she's really using her legs to pull Terri, to pull Julie in. This is very good. That's what you should be doing. So now she slid her arm in here. So this is a little risky move. I mean, she needs to do this and make sure that, because once these legs come open here, Terri can start to snatch a triangle up here. So Julie needs to be prepared to, as soon as those legs come up, she needs to turn the corner. She does not want to fall that direction. She should be falling the other direction. She needs to rotate this direction, or her head needs to go to the right, and she needs to be stepping through and really, if she's going to have her arm in there, she's got to push that arm all the way through up to the shoulder here. but then rotate. She recovered. Good. There's a little bit of bump sweep. I was about to say, Julie has over postured. She's gone too far. And she may be fine here, but from what the looks of it, you can see the angle here. She's leaning back too far, and that can happen a lot of times with posture. And this is where bump sweeps come into play. And this is exactly what Terri's doing. She's going into a bit of a bump sweep. Boom. Pretty straightforward. Bump sweep went over top. She's back to mount position. And this just basically happened just because, again, Julie leaned too far back, and that's pretty fairly normal. I see it all the time with beginners. They go too far back. Okay, beautiful what she's doing here. Right there. Both hands should be framing on the hips. Excellent. Don't be flat on your back. Okay, good. She's getting on her side. Again, she's trying to put her hands to the inside. Yeah, okay, that was a better bump, but I don't want her turning to her side like that. This is no good. So if she's going to bump like that, she needs to stay flat and really bump. She only turns when Terri's on her chest. Okay, that's when she turns, because that's when you can turn. But if your hands are stuck at the wrist, you shouldn't turn because you're going to get your back taken. Back take. Okay, so it's okay. We were here before. Cross the legs. And Terri, just in general, just be careful of this. I mean, you can usually get away with it. Careful with crossing your legs here. I know I've seen people cross their legs a lot of time and they're totally fine, but I've seen most people when they cross their legs, you can actually get footlocked here. The rule is basically you can X your legs and cross your legs if it's on the waist or above the waist. It's essentially just don't want the person's feet going over top of your feet. If they're below the waist, then they can actually trap your feet, and it can be painful. Even if you are flexible, it's still painful. So I do like what Julie's doing a really good job in this cover girl position. She's like rotating and turning into Terri here. And Terri right here should be climbing to the back, right? She should be looking to climb to get that connection, but she's staying on her side here. And this is, okay, she's starting to, I'd like to see that shift climb. There we go. There's a shift climb. Oh, almost. Hold her back, throw over. She looks like she may go to mount. Okay, right here. So Julie's on her back here. This is good. Terri doesn't have connection with any arm connection, no inside position. And it looks like Julie's trying to stuff her arm in here to actually break open the guard. But I was going to say, just turn into her and that'd be a much better position. Oh, very nice. Turned too far. Went right back to the back. Okay, so she's back. She's back on her back. Fight the hand. She got the hand fighting now because there actually isn't a threat of a choke. There is a threat of a choke here. So let's just watch a little bit of this hand fighting here. They're both doing a really good job of hand fighting. That's very nice. You can see right here, Julie's actually going for the thumb. She's trying to hold the meat of the thumb here because that's where she needs to grab to actually pull that arm away. If she grabs anything, the wrist, or anything below the wrist, this is not effective. And I like Terri here. She's actually hands on top here, getting the Julie's left arm out of the mix. And she's staying super tight here, kind of ear to ear. That's beautiful. And she's starting to hide her thumb. So they both understand that the thumb is the problem. And that's phenomenal because that is what you should be focusing on. She's trying to slide flat. This is good. She's stuffing her arm in there. I just need to, I do like the idea that she's having to put her arm in here, but she needs to be very careful. You can't just put one arm in. You got to have two. You should always have, again, 2 in, 2 out. Can't have just 1 in. It's generally a bad idea. But I do like what she's trying to do here. By shoving her arm in here, she's basically just trapped herself, right? Because if now Terri can just actually take that arm completely out of the equation. She's actually in spinal alignment here, and then now Julie only has 1 arm. There's arms going across the back. Julie's fighting for that. She's going for the wrist. Went to the inside position. That was nice. I'd like to see her grab a little bit over the thumb a little more, but she's got out. Switch to the mount. She goes back to her side, exposing her back again. She should be going flat here. Oh, switch to the armbar. Very nice. Julie recognizes it, turns the corner. She needs to keep turning that hip. Okay, there we go. Nice. I like Terri using her really good hip movement here from Terri, trying to get hips up to create some space and get on her side to turn to turtle possibly. She got a guard back, so this is good. To a half guard position. Really nice. I like that, you know. So that was actually really nice. But Julie on top, she's trying to get a crossface. She's doing a lot of things at once. Trying to get a crossface, keep that chest-to-chest connection, and she's using this arm to pry her leg out and free her leg. So this is good. That was a good thing there. Switching to mount. Good. So let's see what Terri does here. Terri's trying to get on her side. So she's got one arm in, one arm out. This is, again, getting into triangle territory. She has to bring her other arm in or bring the other arm out. She's going to go to turtle, looks like. She kind of scoops out, looks like. Okay, so now she has both arms in. And I think that was time. Oh, that was very nice. Very good. Very much enjoyed that. So a lot of good things that were done. I really liked, and there were some things, just kind of fix and just kind of tweak a little bit. And but overall, I think it was actually a really good roll. Very good kind of back and forth, good control. I think some of the things to fix, obviously, just be careful sticking one arm in. Obviously, I keep repeating that. Like they were like the hand fighting, the wrestling part of it. I like just don't reach too much and kind of be too frantic with chasing someone. That's just generally not a good idea. Make sure you're protecting your front leg. Gauge distance with your other arm, and then once you start to get more and more comfortable, you can start to break all these rules, right? So, anyways, that was a good one. That'll be it for this one. Hopefully, I'll have another one this week. All right, thanks.